Hey there, and welcome to the podcast Tiling Connect, hosted by Mark Moskwa. This show is designed to connect people with the best information intended to strengthen the business of tiling. To keep up to date with all the episodes, don't forget to subscribe.
Tiling Connect is brought to you by Lux's Grates, the leaders in aluminium drainage, which are UV stable, rust proof and customisable on site. Available at your local tile or plumbing shop.
Hey everybody, Mark here from Tiling Connects. Welcome to today's episode. I have another fantastic and amazing guest with us today, Bryce Ireland from Ireland Tiling in Melbourne. Quite lucky to have him here today at the end of the shift. So Bryce, welcome to the show.
G'day Mark, thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Thanks for making some time to have a chat and talk all things tiling and strengthen the business of tiling as we like to coin it. Mate, the best place for us to start, though, as we say it on every show, is I love giving my guests as much of the stage as I can. And let's go back to the beginning, mate. Tell me, tell the audience and our community about you and how it all started.
Started the apprenticeship when I was about 19. I would call that a late start. I guess, you know, some guys in high school started 16, 17, but I just tried a lot of different things before that, and tried a couple of different trades. Cabinet making was the standout one. I lasted about 2 weeks at, and just wasn't for me in a factory. Doing that stuff, and just did hospitality for a bit, and ended up getting an apprenticeship in tiling, and it was strange. Like, the variety was there. Like, the variety was enough. As simple as everyone thinks tiling is, the variety was great. You know, screeding, waterproofing. We were doing caulking, internal, external, paving. You know, it was good. It was enough to keep me interested and get through 3 years. Got signed off a bit early, and that was enough. So
you're a Melbourne boy, right?
Melbourne, always. Yep.
So when you say you found an apprenticeship, how did that happen? Was it through a TAFE or a college, or through someone else?
The local leader paper. I don't know if they've still got that, but that was the local free paper. Yeah. My mother-in-law actually found it down their way, and long story short, the bloke that hired me lived on the same road that I grew up on, and I actually walked past his house forever after school and never noticed that he was a tradie, and ended up getting a gig with him. And it was funny. I was thinking about it the other day. Back then, it was really hard to find apprenticeships. Like, you'd be lucky to find an apprenticeship. Like, it was a big deal getting a gig somewhere. Now, you go out, you'd be lucky to find someone who can find an apprentice. Like, it's a complete turnaround. It's crazy.
It is crazy. I mean, because you've been in the trade now for over 10 years, right?
17 odd years, I think, this year in the industry.
17, And I've been in the building products game for about 20 years. And I remember those days earlier on when I was working in retail tiles, where if someone wanted to do a trade, particularly tiling or in some of those other trades, you couldn't find an apprenticeship. Like, it was like a unicorn. Yep.
I remember calling so many people, like a shit ton of people in the yellow pages back then it was, and it just wasn't happening. You weren't getting an apprenticeship, basically. Yeah.
And it's crazy. We've gone full circle, and we're now in 2023, and we can't get enough apprentices, whether they be local or people coming in from migrating in from overseas.
And demanding ridiculous money for essentially getting a ticket and someone spending their time to show you something. It's
so I think they call it a CEO salary. Want to start at 7, finish at 2, and possibly on Friday I want to finish at 12 because I want to go and have a pub lunch.
Yep. And work from home as a tradie.
and WHF, work from home. I digress. Mate, that's awesome. So the building and construction industry is a pretty interesting space, right? You've been in it for 17 years. That's a long time. What do you like most about it? What gets your juices flowing?
Different job sites, mostly. I get bored pretty easy. I'm surprised I've stuck at tiling for this long. Just got my limited building license last year, so that'll be enough to keep me interested in in the industry, but something a bit different and doing full renos. But yeah, it's just cool. You're on a different job, especially tiling. You might be there for like a week, maybe 2 months, 3 months, depending on the size of the job. We picked up a 400-meter paving job not far from my place actually, and the boys will be there for a while. Like that's all, 20 mil natural stone, drop faces. There's a couple of 100 meters of miters. That they'll be over it by the end of that job. They'll be ready for a new job site. Yeah.
Do you find? Sorry, catch off, mate. Do you find the jobs? Do you like more the quick and easy? Not quick and easy is not the right word. Do you like more of the jobs where they're in and out? So it might be 100 meters and a bathroom, and then you move on to the next, or is the flavour more? I need a couple of those, and then give me something I'm going to be on for 3 months.
Yeah, when I was on the tools, I wanted variety. Now I don't mind what we win because I'm not the one laying it these days. I'm more managing the boys and popping in, and I've got guy Lockie on site and guys set up, so that's okay. When I was on the tools, I did like the variety. I'd probably be over it after maybe 3-4 bathrooms in one home. It's you kind of get over the location, and you do need to start the next job. So variety's good. Yeah.
So you mentioned you're more in a management role within the business now that you've created and built from the ground up. What's how big's your team? How many people you got working?
About 13 at the moment, and that's a combination of full-time subbies that come in occasionally, and then a few guys that sort of run their own companies within our company. So it's about 13, and then myself, I guess, who I'll still liaise with clients, more the relationship side of things, make sure we're staying in business and profitable, which is hard at the moment. Then I've got Lockie, who actually did his apprenticeship with me, and Chris Stenhouse. Same company. So Lockie and I have worked together since we were apprentices. He's moved into more of an operations manager sort of role for me. Nice. So he'll set the boys up, sort of take care of that day-to-day stuff where my phone used to ring a lot with sort of, trivial questions that would take away from me quoting or securing the next job. He helps with that. And then I've actually got Emma in the office, who started with us about a year ago, and she just sort of helped out with quotes initially, and now she's pretty much full-time sort of estimator and bookkeeper. So they're crucial players. Thanks, guys, if you're listening. I can't believe I used to do it all. Now, I was doing all those roles, wearing all those hats up until last year. So
wow, that's incredible. So at year 16, you sort of went, it's time to bring some more support in.
I never really had a plan. Initially, it was like, Lockie jumped on with me when I got busy sort of in my second year. And then you just don't want to say no to work as a tradie because you don't know when the next job's coming. So natural progression is just to keep hiring and keep servicing the clients. And when they're busy, you're busy. And then COVID happened, which was, everyone's bullshit busy, and we ended up hiring, and a lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes happened during that period because we grew so quick to keep up, and it cost me a lot of money. There's a lot of lessons to rectify works, but keep face, keep my reputation, and do the right thing and fix jobs. And whether or not clients chose to use us after those small mistakes, which, I mean, end of the day, no one's dead. It's just it's just a job. It's just tiling. Everything's fixable. But there's a few guys that might have that mentality, like, they're fucked up and I'm not going to use them again, and that's whatever. I mean, good luck to them. Good luck to them. Shit happens, especially in building. And if you can't put up with it, I think you're probably in the wrong industry. Really.
Your skin might not be as thick as what you think.
Yeah. But that's also, personalities. A lot of different personalities we're dealing with, and luckily now I've got a good network. Working with great people. Yeah.
Well, mate, you touched on bringing people on board in the last 12 months or so, probably a little bit longer. what's been your key and secret to success in getting the right people on board?
Paying well and paying on time. I pay really well. Like the money some of these guys are making, I personally know they wouldn't get working for builders directly. I just know how to price jobs and make it fair. I wouldn't call us a volume style business, running that lean on margins, but like I want everyone to make money. End of the day, it's not just about me as a business owner, and I think that's why I've got a good team and people are stuck with me. And I pay within 7 days. I mean, you don't get that. I chase money sometimes for 2 months, so I'm essentially the bank to do the right thing. But the boys keep working with us, and they tell their friends, and that's it. That's how we can keep growing, just doing the right thing.
Yeah, mate. You touched on some really important things there. I mean, obviously one is that you do become the bank, right? Like we're seeing in the wider context of Australia at the moment, with a lot of builders going under or into receivership or liquidation. And look, we only hear part of the story on, if at all, in mainstream media. I don't think that we get to see the whole truth.
Three sides, always 3 sides to a story. Yeah,
100%. But certainly, you mentioned profitability. That's really important, right? Because if your business isn't profitable, or profitable at the right level, you can't provide the right type of support for your team and quality for your clients. Obviously, you've done a lot of work in that space over the 16 or 17 years you've been in the game. What's sort of been some of the biggest challenges that you've faced in building? Like this is like Lego, like an epic Lego set that you're building, right? So what have you done?
Biggest, I guess, just learning along the way. I mean, never had a mentor at all. Both parents didn't run businesses. I just learned as I went, really. Luckily, self-taught, I guess. Didn't finish school. Got kicked out of 2 schools. So not an academic by any means. I guess just learning as I went, and, no loans, saved everything to get that money behind us to back it.
Good on you. That's
probably
awesome.
just 7 days a week forever, and long nights. And even now I jump on a laptop when the kids are asleep and still catch up on work, or if I'm at the gym, I'm on a treadmill, I'll be doing emails just to get stuff done. Like it's just you got to do it.
Do you have like with that routine? Do you set yourself an end time for every day? Because I imagine you're up early.
Yeah. 3 kids, so I'm up early. 5 a.m. lately. Our middle child's been getting me up, so it's not a bad thing. No real end time. I think now I know when I'm burnt out or close to burning out, I'll call it quits. Like I might leave on a month. So Monday this week was pretty busy, and I sort of pulled the pin about 1 o'clock and just went to the gym and had an hour to myself, phone off. I think now I know when I'm well and truly cooked, and no real finish time for work. I mean, I don't do weekends. Since having the kids, I might have done half a dozen Saturdays, but that's it. Before that, every Saturday, occasionally Sundays, sometimes late nights. I'll go and, not now, but I was known to work after dinner. I might zip back out and chuck second coats on rooms, or great jobs. It's just you just got to do more than everyone else is willing to do, and you'll build a business.
Yeah, good on you, man. That's freaking awesome. I mean, knowing, and I didn't know that piece about you, that you've been solo for 16 years. Well, let's say 15 and a half years. Give yourself a bit more of a window, but it's only really been this last sort of 12, 18 months where you've really accelerated the business. People hiring people, getting the right people on board, and getting some support so that you're not carrying the full weight of that business on your shoulders.
Yeah, there was no real. Before this, nothing. Now I'm getting big on structures and systems more than ever, because of the size we're at, the cost of everything, trying to stay competitive. It's definitely the hardest it's ever been. on top of all of the fabulous material increases that
it's crazy.
that's happening out there. Tiling. I think tiling's getting it more now. Like when everyone's timber prices were going up, plaster was going up, steel was going up. We didn't see a lot, but more recently we've seen membranes go up 20-30%. Silicon, like now, a tube of silicon's like $25 like retail.
Wow.
It's nuts. I remember going to Bunnings, some of those tubes were $14 like a few years back. It's just
So mate, that's a big thing, right? So obviously there's a lot of challenges in the industry at the moment, people being one of them, and finding the right staff. I was talking to someone literally Monday night at an AGM, because I'm part of the SES up here in Queensland, and I was talking to one of the members there, or one of the colleagues, I should say, and I think she works for QFIS, for Queensland Fire and Emergency Services, and she's in HR. And she was saying they've got something like 200 roles open at the moment that they just can't fill. Like
can't get fired.
You just can't get people, can't get mechanics, can't get engineers, can't get a whole bunch of people. Like it's insane the amount of opportunities that are out there. So people's obviously one piece, but as you mentioned, the cost side of things is huge. Like I've seen that in my day job, how dramatically it's gone up over the last couple of years, and there hasn't been any significant decreases yet. I'm seeing some stuff starting to flow through now, but how do you manage from an independent business perspective? How do you manage those costs, and what are the customers saying now? Like, I imagine that you've got to pass that on, right?
Yeah. So I struggled with putting prices up. Obviously everyone's going to push back, and I'm starting to do a few bathroom renos myself with my limited license, and I know what customers are like, and I know how hard it is to win jobs as is, even off normal pricing and fair margins. So when I put that forward to a builder that, hey, our rates are going up, and they're trying to sort of gauge their jobs, and a lot of them won't quote or get us to quote. They do now because they know I've got an estimator, but in the past they'll go, oh, he used to charge this much per meter, and they'll go and quote a whole house without even talking to you. And then when the time comes, we're ready to go, and I'll tell them our rates. They're like, oh, I quoted off the last job, and I'm like, well, stuff's gone up.
You probably should have consulted me.
yeah, but we're dealing with guys here. Like, blokes aren't the smartest. Let's be honest. We're not. We're a pretty simple. We're a pretty simple breed, especially tradies. So, there is pushback, and everyone gets it. I think it's just the new norm. Prices need to go up. Everything's going up. Our work covers doubled. I think tiling, I was talking to a few people, tiling is one of the highest classifications, like industry rates.
Yeah, wow.
I think it's 15% we're at.
That's huge.
And that's based off, obviously, wages that you pay. So it's just another tax.
Yeah.
I've got a lot to say on that topic, but I won't say it publicly.
Maybe an island tiling part too.
Yeah, I just find it very it's very interesting. There's only 3 insurers and 0 competition. So I don't know how that's fair, but whatever. Next topic. Yeah, it's hard. Price increases are hard, but like, if I want to stay in business, I need to do it. And I'll probably need to do it again, looking at the numbers recently. I do tweak our rates as we went. Miters. I'll find out, oh shit, we're doing our balls on mitering. It's taking so long. Maybe I need to up that rate. So I'll tweak it, bits and pieces. I won't send out a public, increase letter with all of the usual spiels and stuff. It's just the rates are up. That's it. The quote's gone up. Yeah, I adjusted waterproofing. I used to charge a flat rate for waterproofing, and as time's gone on, the rooms have gotten bigger, so the flat rate didn't really cover that. So you might, just to keep it easy with quoting, the flat rates worked well, but now we're doing bigger rooms and there's more meters than the flat rate would cover. And in the past, I might have sort of won on one job and lost on another, but it will always even out. So now we're just going back to the meter rate thing and having a quote that way. So
I find it with obviously in the space that I work in during my day job, and probably even throughout my career, we've always done this. I mean, when you're dealing with importing product in from overseas or dealing with manufacturing product locally, a lot of businesses had a flavour of they do a price increase notification, and then they'll do they'll send another letter out saying, it's finally here. This is what the new price increase is going to be, and this is the percentage associated around that price increase. Well, one of the things I've never done is I've never actually gone into the nitty gritty of the price increase numbers, because it's really, I don't know, I find it a bit fanciful. I mean, if you've got to do a price review in your business, you do the price review. You're not going to sit there and tell, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, now prices have gone up 25%. Because how do you actually, you would be having a conversation with every single customer over and over again about that. It just, if a price review needs to occur, it just needs to occur. And it's sort of an internal, it's an internal thing for you being able to maintain a profitable business.
And if you want to stay in business, 100%. Yeah,
and then the customer just gets that price. And if it ends up being, laying 600 by 600s now is $70 a square meter, and previously it was 60. Well, that's information for you to hang on to, right? They don't need to know that. Like it's
exactly. And I reckon, I don't know. I mean, the builders I work for are pretty good. I'm lucky we're in a medium to higher end sort of market. We're good with quality, obviously. Like, we're good with delivering projects and stuff on time. And now it's just going to be a case of that's the price increase. And I mean, we've got overheads, we've got costs. Probably cut back the overheads as well. Like, we don't have a factory at the moment, so I've gone to leasing a bit of space somewhere else. Just trying to really, trim the fat off it, but it's still tough. It's still really hard now, definitely. Yeah. So it's
I mean, actually, no, we've already covered that. I won't. Look, it has been hard, and I've heard many stories from different people about what they've been through the last couple of years. Particularly, it's been super hard because of all of the different challenges. So, I just take my hat off to anybody in business who's managed to get through pre-COVID to today and has maintained, and even in some cases grown their businesses exponentially. Yeah. But it's a big raps to everybody that's done that, mate. So well done. It's good. Yeah, and with the amount of people that you brought on recently into the business, it's even more impressive. So there's not too many businesses bringing on 11 and 12 people in a couple of years.
Well, we did. I reckon we've probably done maybe 8. I reckon about 8 people that we've added. We could go. I could go again. I reckon a similar number, but I'm really not interested. I mean, it's hard enough now with the numbers and trying to balance it and cash flow it, and running the risk of obviously dealing with builders going bust. We've got systems in place for that. I've known these guys for a long time. A lot of them have been with me since the first sort of year on my own, and still shit happens. You're hearing about it left, right, and centre. It's and not just big builders. Like, you got guys that you would think have got things under wraps. Local smaller guys overnight. There's one down here that's gone, and it's interesting.
Yeah, it seems that I don't know if it's been created this way, but certainly there seems to be a lot more happening in Melbourne. And as you know, you would know that I was obviously in Melbourne, living there for 10 years before I moved back home to Queensland, and a vast majority of the major liquidations have occurred in Melbourne, and you can only really point the finger in one direction as to what's been the catalyst for that. I'm not saying that they're the cause of it. Certainly, when you've got a state locked up for 2 years and it's hard to do business, there is always going to be an effect after that. And I'm not saying that, I'm not pointing the fingers at any particular body or anything like that at all, and because it doesn't do you any good. But certainly they've laid the foundations for people to trade and operate in a much harder environment, and people just suffering, and the effect is that you get what you get.
It's again, I'm not political at all, but you could definitely put it down to leadership. That's and still the same decisions. Decisions. I mean, you got land tax and all these other shit coming out that I'm like, I've never cared about politics until like now. Maybe I'm getting old. I don't know, but the more you look into it, the more frustrated you get, and you're like, okay, I can't do that. I mean,
It is. I've had this conversation so many times with so many different people around Australia and even in some parts of New Zealand, and you can always put your finger on the leadership piece of it. It's always about leadership, and I think if COVID did anything, it exposed just how horrible a lot of the leadership is around the world, not just in our own backyard, but just everywhere.
No. Across the board.
They're just, unfortunately, and we're at the effect of that leadership. And I know we've got the ability to vote, and I get all that. And certainly I think we do our best to put in, the right leaders. Yet some states and territories just keep putting in the same leaders and expecting a different result. Like, guys, that's the perfect definition of insanity. That ain't going to happen. You better just give someone else a go, because it can't get any worse.
No.
And it can only get better.
You'd hope so.
But,
we'll have to watch that space.
Yes. So anyway, I digress. Moving on.
Are you looking for a water drainage solution that serves its purpose and adds a touch of elegance to your space? Lux's Grates are here to revolutionise your indoor and outdoor applications. Whether it's your shower, bathroom, balcony, pool, or any other area, Lux's Grates is the ideal choice. It's easy and quick installation that you can bang out in just over an hour. Their standard grates offer a classic and timeless look, while the next generation style adds a more modern twist to your space. Lux's Grates are made of high quality anodised aluminium, ensuring durability and longevity.
Mate, you've talking about the work that you've done over the past number of years. What's been your key to building that quality, that style of work? I mean, how do you? I suppose that's one part of it. The other part is how do you get new work? Like, what's your marketing strategy? How do you go about reeling it all in?
Well, one of my many jobs when I was younger, I was actually in sales, like an inbound call center, and then also face-to-face, like sales for energy companies and whatever. Wasn't great, but it taught me a lot. And the law of averages, you speak to 100 people, you're bound to make 10 sales or whatever it is. So I just started cold calling people day one. I just went through Google and Googled builders Berwick, which is where I'm located, then Southeast Melbourne, and jumped on the phone. Mate, you need a tiler? Nah, cool. And this was back when, the economy wasn't booming like this. It wasn't the case. It was like, yeah, mate, I need a tiler, and this is what I pay. And if I wanted the work, I was working for that rate, or I wasn't getting the work. That's it. Yeah. Whereas now, trades are demanding huge money. I know guys that are getting crazy money laying tiles. Whether or not it's going to be sustainable for them and whether or not they're going to get repeat work, I highly doubt it. But at the moment, they're probably taking advantage of that and winning the jobs and getting the work, and that's all good, but it's not a long-term strategy. So back then it was like, these are the rates, and I went in and you just do the jobs. You see how you go. You can make money because you're on your own anyway. Yeah. And I had like a labourer. So just did that and just started taking on jobs and picked up, I was actually really lucky early days. It's one of those like service sort of programs. You pay whatever and they give you X amount of leads for job. Yeah. Won't mention the company, but one of those. And I remember I didn't have a lot of money behind me, and it was about $1,000, and they're like, we'll guarantee you 10 leads, right? And so you got like the shit heap jobs. Like people need like one tile repair. And you're like, that cost me $100. That lead cost me $100. And not being too like business savvy number wise, you can't, like back then I was just like, whatever, I'll do the repair. Not trying to put that $100 back on the job because you're not going to get it. Yeah. Anyway, one of the leads was actually a builder in Melbourne who specialised in investment property renovations and development. That lead, that $100 turned into easily over $500,000 of work for me. They were one of my biggest builders for probably 7 years. We're doing townhouses. We're doing 8 sort of apartment renos in Melbourne. We were doing at least one investment property reno a week with them. That was great, and that was awesome. Like my bread and butter. You know, that helped me grow. And then as time went on, I was like, oh, look, you know, and I actually offered them. I said, oh, what if I like do a supply and install package for you as well? And the director was like, yeah, man, all about it. Like, it's easier just to give you the job, the plans, you take care of the whole thing. So that income off supplying tiles with that allowed me to go and get a truck, get a factory, and grow after that. And then, yeah, we just kept growing from there. Same sort of deal, just picking up builders, and people saw signage, and Instagram was a good one. Instagram was great for growing the business. I think I got on board with that whenever Instagram sort of started with trades. You know, and then you just get on there. A few people started messaging me, and and now I'm in the position where the builders are calling us because they know mates that are builders. I've been pretty lucky. The last couple of years, I haven't had to look for new work. It's come to us, and we've just serviced them really well, and it's almost on repeat, you know.
Do you sort of would you attribute? I mean, sorry, I'm trying to find the right words.
Right.
I don't want to put words in your mouth. Would you attribute that success with that that marketing that you've had behind you? Would you like the brand awareness that you've created for yourself and for the business today is pretty powerful, right? You know, you've got a pretty massive following on there, so you've obviously taken a risk, right? You had this call center company ring up, and you thought, I'm going to give it a try. So you tried something, I imagine, that was pretty foreign to you at the time, and went, well, you know, what have I got to lose? And from that, you've landed this amazing customer, which, you know, again, you know, you from 10 leads, one of them's bound to be great, right? Whether it's a $500,000 customer, or even if it's a customer a third of that size, it's like watering a flower; it'll just grow. When did you start using social media as part of your brand awareness and brand marketing for the business?
Day one, it was like a Facebook page. You know, Facebook was sort of the first thing, and then I reckon it was probably my second or third year in Instagram started, and then we jumped on board with that, and that was just so easy. The photos are all people need to see, really. Just the work you've done, and
Are you doing that? Are you doing all of that content creative yourself?
Yeah, all myself. Every post, everything like that. Nice. I've got Emma in the office now who's helping with a few bits of content, getting that created and stuff like that for the Facebook page and the Google page. Chat GPT, trialing a few things with that. That's
AI.
AI, it's okay. It's a bit robotic.
It is very robotic at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a bit clunky, but it's still good. I mean, I think it's going to be a good thing for helping with content.
Yeah, I think it's very. My opinion is it's very early. I've used it for a bit of content writing, and I've found that it's very repetitive. Like you'll put in your search function what you want, but then it'll give you 4 paragraphs, and 3 of them will be sort of somewhat similar and identical, and you have to go, well, I'll get rid of paragraph 2, keep 1, 2, and 3, and you still have to put a human touch into it. There's no.
You still have to.
I found.
Yeah, I agree. Same thing. You know, you'll ask for a like let's say an article on waterproofing and the benefits, and it will be very out of touch, very computerized. But it's enough. You know, it saved you writing 300-400 words, and you can just tweak it where you need to. Like I've found that it gets my creative juices flowing. I'm always one of these people that loves, you know,
what I refer to as the colouring in department, which is marketing, and building a post and creating it and putting it all together, and then thinking about it. But sometimes you just get into a bit of a funk where you can't think. How am I going to start? But once you get that first paragraph or the first few lines, you're like, that's where I needed to go. But your mind just is stalling.
Yeah, 100%.
That's cool. So
so
you got on from the beginning. You're doing all of the social media, well, the majority of the digital media marketing yourself. What are your tips and tricks, mate? What's working for you? Are you using different apps or?
Yeah, no apps. A couple of those grid apps. A couple of like the little video ones. I'm not big on like doing reels and whatever. I've never really jumped on that. It's not me. But just photos. I mean, I think it's good to probably narrow down on the hashtag thing. Like I'll do a lot of hashtags around Melbourne. For like Melbourne construction or Melbourne building or designers Melbourne, whatever. Because I don't think there's any point trying to make people in America see your posts if you want work in Melbourne, really.
Yeah.
Try and time. Sorry, go for it.
No, sorry, mate. I interrupted again.
That's all right. I was just saying, just the time of day and stuff. You can just Google when they suggest to post when people are most active. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing about algorithms, right? It's a bit of a deep dark sea. You can sort of get lost in a lot of the information online in posting and stuff. It's a bit of a spider's web, but it does what it's meant to. But I think I was talking to someone yesterday about how much time on average you get with a post, and I think it's like 2.5 seconds. I think.
Oh yeah.
Your post is, but that's literally your post life span on people's feed is like 2.5 seconds. That's it.
Jeez.
So I was listening to Gary V the other day because I'm a big fan of Gary V. He's pretty authentic and genuine character, and not everyone agrees with him, but I think I love his content. I love what he stands for. I love what he's doing. He's a bit of a he's very much into the Zoomers and into the younger generations and encouraging them, which that's pretty cool, right? He's because a lot of people are keen to beat them up, but he's sort of like, well, hang on a second, this is the future generation of the world. And he was saying that, if you want to make something of social media, digital media on your channels, you, from an engagement perspective, you really need to be making about 100 comments per day on people's work on posts. If your plan is to be like a digital media superstar and an influencer and all that sort of stuff, you start whatever day it is that you start. Hey, let's just say it's today. Today for the next 30 days, do 100. You need to comment and engage 100 times on people's gear. Now I can't remember whether or not that was across multiple channels or whether that's per one platform, but I would imagine it would probably be across multiple platforms. But then again, you need to then pick your platform audience because you can't be everything to everybody, and you can't. You just can't try and. I think the from what my understanding, it's two. The number's two. Two is the perfect number of platforms that you should really be going down to be the flashlight of your business when it comes to digital media. That's what I've learned. And I've tried to do some other things, and it's all right. Like if you try and do all of it, it just doesn't. It's like a shotgun approach. It doesn't stick.
Yeah, I agree. Just spreading yourself too thin.
Yeah,
too much to remember, too much to do. It's I had a lot more time before kids for that sort of stuff, but at the moment, a few photos, like proper posts. I'll rip the phone out whenever I'm doing like a screed or a waterproof or like a quote or a site visit, if I remember, just to keep relevant, keep the fans happy.
Awesome.
And that's it.
Cool, man. Well, hey, look, we're sort of at the back end of today's episode, but one of the things that I'd like to talk about is I'd like to talk about this with all my guests, but Bryce out of Thailand, obviously, tell us more about that. What happens when you're not at work? You mentioned you got 3 kids, so obviously, I assume you've got
3 kids. Yep. Great wife, 3 kids,
awesome.
2 boys and a girl. and that's probably enough.
Yeah. You
and
married?
Then married. Yeah.
Oh, nice, awesome.
Long time. Couldn't tell you how many years, but it's enough.
As long as you remember
10.
on that special date, mate, that's all that matters.
Yeah. I think we're nearly 10. So yeah, just hanging out with the family. Really, try and get out. Bit of fishing as well. Enjoy fishing. Something I don't do enough. And Melbourne's winters are pretty cold. Probably too cold to take the kids out for that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Bit of mountain bike riding more recently with the kids because the oldest is nearly 6, so he's out on a little electric bike, and then the middle one just jumps on a little. No, it's what brand is it? It's called Stasic. It's like a little electric brushless motor bike, basically. Cool. Yeah, nice. It's like a balance bike with a motor. Runs off like a sort of drill battery thing. So I just chuck one of those in the bag, and he's got one on the bike, and we're yet to use one. You probably get an hour out of it.
Yeah,
hauls ass. It's pretty quick. Like it'll do a mono and flip him off if he goes on it a bit quick. So yeah, nice. I'm definitely living the childhood I wanted through him. So yeah, that's cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, and just hanging out with the family, really. Just downtime.
Yeah, nice.
Classic dad stuff,
Yeah, that's cool. Do you take some time off during the major breaks, like at the end of the year and things like that, or?
Yeah, end of the year we do. That's always been my one break where I'll probably take 4 weeks, sometimes 5. We'll just shut down. More recent years, I've had a few guys want to work through, so that's a bit annoying because the phone does ring occasionally. But yeah, usually just the end of the year. I think I'm starting to need a break sort of mid-year, and I probably will try school holidays maybe for a week or 2. This year's gone real quick. We hit, July, and I was like, not really over it, but I'm like, a bit sort of done with everything at the minute. And I was like, we're halfway through the year, and I keep forgetting to book a break in. So yeah definitely need to.
Mate, should if I can give you any words of advice, and not that I've been super disciplined at it, but I make sure that every 6 to 8 weeks I just find a weekend to grab with a partner, and we have it booked in advance, of course, but we just because my three kids are all grown, and we certainly we just try and get away for a weekend. Saturday morning, I might grab the hiking boots, head up the Sunshine Coast, head to the Gold Coast, night away. Just beautiful. And no podcast, no day job, no, because I have the same as you. While I don't own the business that I work in for my day job, I'm very much in love with the industry, and that love sometimes just spills over into every other day of the week and night and all that sort of stuff. So
it's easy to do. It's easy to do. I don't blame you. Yeah.
When you love it that much, you're just like, but you've got to learn to turn off. So
especially for the partner.
Partner and kids.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Well, man, the rest of 2023, what does it look like? What's coming up?
A fair few renos actually. I've so I got my limited license last year. So in Vic, there's different classifications. There's DBU, which is a unlimited residential builder, meaning you can do pretty much anything. I'm limited at the moment, and I've got that in kitchens, bathrooms, laundries. So got a little bit on, got a little apartment reno on at the minute. Kitchen, got 2 more bathrooms coming up before the end of the year. That should sort of see me through. A cool one I'm working on, which we're still sort of doing some pricing with a client. That's a sauna in a bathroom, and the whole bathroom's cladded in Western red cedar up into a Velux skylight.
Wow.
Sick job. Really want it. Pricing's crazy. I don't know if he knew it was going to be that much, but I've gone in pretty lean on this one just because I know it's going to look great and it will be a good one for the portfolio.
Yeah, nice.
So that's my 2023 goals. And just trying to make it to the end of the year, really.
Yeah.
Just without burning out. We're busy. I reckon, what is it? Sort of after grand final weekend, the builders will start stressing on Christmas deadlines.
Yeah.
At the moment, I know a few guys that are already done for the year and palming us off work to do because they can't fit it in. So it's going to be another wild rush to Christmas.
I think so, mate. I think everyone's, well, look, I think between now and, the next couple of months, if the Federal Reserve Bank doesn't do anything crazy and silly and hopefully, if the inflation results come down like they have overseas, we may see some stabilisation, which potentially will give us a really good platform for growth for 2024. I don't think it's going to be like it was pre-COVID, but certainly, we've got all these people coming into the country that want to live here. There's not enough dwellings. There's not enough affordable housing. There's not enough being done across, multiple different government bodies. So I think
not enough trades as well.
Not enough trades. Yeah. So look, there's still plenty of stuff that can be done, and we're seeing it up here in Queensland. There's a ton. Whenever I get up every day, I'm on the road quite a bit, and I'm always looking around, and there's stuff coming out of the ground everywhere. There's, I've just got some more civil infrastructure being built down the road from where I am at Mango Hill. They're probably going to put in another 20, 30 houses there. They're starting to get ready for that.
Yeah, so, wow.
And that's just one little pocket. There's plenty there. So.
Yep. No, we'll be right.
Mate, you've been amazing today. Thanks so much. Sorry about the glitches and hiccups earlier on, but we got there.
Third time lucky.
Third time lucky. But, mate, before I let you go anywhere, we have our final fast track questions, which I'm going to throw at you really quickly. And then we'll wrap up. But, mate, look, there's a number of different things that I could ask you, but I suppose from your perspective, what's sort of been one of the most important lessons you've learned over your career, and particularly in business? Share with us one.
Best bit of advice I will give anyone from what I've learnt will be, and I've heard this before of somebody much more successful than me: hire slow, fire fast.
Love it. That's awesome.
Yep, that's one lesson that I knew and I should have stuck to, but during growth I didn't, and it cost me a shit ton. So
I think we've all been there. We've all done it.
You just I was put up with this guy. I was just, we've got enough work on. If I just keep, and worst thing you could do.
What do you think? Thanks, mate. Sorry.
Right.
What do you think is one of the biggest myths about tiling?
That you're always on your hands and knees. I reckon everyone's like, your knees would be killing you, and I'm like, no, you're not on your knees that much. Like, really. We're tiling in a bathroom, 4 walls and a floor, and the floor's maybe the size or half the size of one wall, or 3/4 of the size of one wall. Like, you're not always on your knees. That's one. Cool.
I like it. No, that's it. That's all that's needed. If you had a chance to go back and talk to the 18-year-old Bryce and give him some advice, what would that be? Knowing what you know today, right?
Probably do everything a lot quicker. I would have not waited. I'm pretty impulsive as it is, but I reckon I could have done everything a lot quicker and a lot sooner.
And this is one of my favourites, actually, this question, because I've had some really interesting responses. What's your morning routine like as a professional tiling contractor?
Ice bath, 3 a.m, sauna at 4 a.m, and a 40k run at 5 a.m. No, not David Goggins.
Locking that in, Eddie.
Morning routine is get woken up way too early from the kids, make coffee because I need that, and then just help get them ready for the day, get the house ready, and make a lunch, and then start the war of business.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, phone calls, and I don't get as many calls these days, luckily, because Lockie's got that part of it under control. But in the past, it was like 6:30, paying for materials on the phone. The boys are trying to get gate codes and can't find keys on sites, and
Shout out to Lockie for handling all the calls.
Thanks, Lock. Good job, buddy. Lachlan Tullett.
Love it. Bryce, you've been amazing today. Look, I'm sure that once this goes live and people have the opportunity to listen, they'll want to reach out to you and chat with you directly. What's the best way for people to contact you and or Ireland Tiling if they choose so?
Yeah, OnlyFans? No. Kidding again. I don't have that. Just Instagram. Instagram's pretty good. I'm more than happy to message anyone on there, or flick me an email if you want. You can find the website. Ireland Tiling.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Well, look, we'll definitely make sure that we put that in the show notes, and so people have got a bit of a segue into reaching out and speaking with you directly, mate. And I really appreciate you making the time today and having a chat with us. This podcast, Tiling Connect, was very much built around strengthening the business of tiling, and I believe that by connecting all of these great minds, we can certainly join forces and leave a legacy, a really positive legacy for the youth that are coming through. I know that there's still a very big shortfall in people wanting to do tiling, and that it's been that way for over a decade. And it's not something that just happened the last few years. I think that if we can put a lot more emphasis and focus in on this part of the industry, we can certainly develop some younger generations that will really want to take this on, because I don't see AI and robotics really impacting our industry for a long time, because it's such a craft.
It's a manual job. It's and you need to be taught it on site. You can't learn this on a YouTube video as much as some big retailers would like you to, I think.
I think that, it's easy. Just mix it up and just put it aside.
Just mix the shit in the bucket. It's great. No, you're doing good. You're doing great. It is nice to see an Aussie tiling podcast.
Yeah, mate. Well, thank you. Well, look, it's mate, we're still very young. We're about to turn 12 months, I think, in a week's time or so from the very first episode. So we're going well, and we're getting some other support, external support, which is awesome. And we're just onwards and upwards, mate. So
that'll be good. Great.
Thanks again. Have an excellent rest of the week, buddy. And until next time, mate, stay connected.
Thanks, Mark. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Tiling Connect. Don't forget to rate and review this podcast. To see more of Tiling Connect, jump on our socials and follow us via LinkedIn, Instagram and Facebook. If you'd like to be part of the show, email us at tilingconnect@gmail.com. Until next time, stay connected.